Hi everyone. Yeah. So introduction to Ohmio. It's not just Ohmio. Ohmio is the vehicles. We've also got another group of companies that work very closely with us. Smart City Consultancy, which I'm part of. ECS. We work closely with the council in Milton Keynes. We work closely with the council in Solihull and Coventry. So it's not just us. There's a lot of people work with us to make these demonstrations and make this work happen. What's the first thing? Well, the first thing to talk about from an autonomous vehicle point of view, I call it autonomy as a service. You know, the big challenge that anyone has is to make these things commercially viable. There's no point, you know, running these vehicles with a safety drive or two safety drives. What's the commercial benefit? No commercial benefit. The only commercial benefit comes from the point when we can run the vehicles on their own without a safety driver on board, and those drivers then are remote in a control room overseeing and monitoring and watching the vehicles. Now, I call it autonomy as a service because it's not just shuttles, it's also robots, it's, you know, humanoids. These can walk around, do things, but while someone has to walk alongside it all the time, there's no commercial benefit, right? You're adding the cost of a first and a robot. So the big thing is to remove the safety driver. Government legislation is that from probably March next year, the view is that we will be in a position to start running the vehicles on the roads without safety drivers on board, should we have done all the right things, the insurance is in place, proved the tech, all this. There's quite a lot to be done, but at least we are moving to that sort of stage. So that's the next big thing, right? So that's the main point. So to put that proposition together, what we're trying to do is develop as a blueprint. One of the things that we have to have is connectivity. You know, the vehicle on its own, operating on its own is fine, but if they haven't got great connectivity back to a control room, back to the skies, your GPS, or to good LiDAR capability, if it hasn't got all of these things, it can't operate. So 5G standalone, mobile connectivity, given guaranteed connections is very important. So we have to have that type of stuff. Next one. I keep reading the same one. So in terms of the vehicle itself, the things that we're doing with the vehicle, we start off, we launched in from New Zealand North here in about September 23. Since then, we started the vehicles and we've now gradually added technology. So we've added improved LiDAR. We've added the cameras so that they remotely see what the vehicle's doing. We've added the teleoperation so we can control it from the joystick. The control room itself is the key thing, to be able to do all of these things remotely. So it's not, you know, it's not just the vehicle, it's also the technology, it's connectivity, it's the operation. This is the control room part. So the 5G is important. What we need then is connectivity to the vehicle, and we call this V2X. And that's when it gets interesting, because it's not the vehicle just being intelligent, it's everything else being intelligent. So being able to connect to the vehicle mesh side, connect to the traffic light, connect to these other control rooms, connect to the Transport for West Midlands control room. So all of these things need to come back to the people who need to see the information and act upon it and use it. So the vehicle's clever. All of the other things we're seeing around us are becoming clever. Everything's clever. They're all got to connect together, and then we become really efficient as an infrastructure. So connected infrastructure. This goes now to the control room. The part that we had for this, we've got a lot of work being done on the dashboards. So we bring in information from VMS sign. We bring in information from CCTV. We can bring in all sorts of data sets. The interesting part here comes is when the insurance company said, well, what happens then if there's let's call it a near miss. Let's say, what happens in it? Great thing in our control room is we can play back the CCTV from around us, the video from the shuttle, inside the shuttle that's been happening, the black box of the shuttle, and so we know everything at the stick, like if you have an accident with an aeroplane. You can actually go back and look at everything at that split-second time to understand what's going on. And the insurance companies really want it. Obviously, they're going to insure us with no driver on a public road. They wouldn't know that this sort of stuff is around. And clearly, we're not going to get any approval to do these things until we can prove we're safer than a generic driver driving a normal vehicle. So there's a lot of work to do. We're using Soliton for our cameras, for our teleoperation. And again, we can show you this elsewhere. The last one I've got on here. So the capability is great. We're building the capability with in the action with all the other infrastructure. And the point about it is to make it repeatable. So we've done a little bit in Milton Keynes, we've done a little bit in NEC, we're doing a bit down in Suffolk, but we want to be able to repeat this anyway. Obviously, there's cost and into the top, but the fact is we're trying to make this repeatable. Yeah. So in summary, then it's all about the removing the safety driver, which autonomy as a service, key issues commercial. If you don't lose the safety with the safety driver, none of these things are ever been cost effective. So what we've got people with sitting behind the steering wheel with big buses, okay, but that's not going to be the long way, right? We can also run the vehicles in platooning mode, so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles sitting behind each other, 2 meters apart electronically, so you can put more people on buses as well. That's the main thing there then. It's blueprint. Then the last thing I wanted to mention to you, well, first thing, has everyone been on the shuttle? Can we lock the door there, guys? Now, if you haven't been on the shuttle, please just come and have a quick, it's 5 minutes. If you haven't experienced it, just please have a little go at it. The other thing I want to mention is in Milton Keynes, we're doing a robot competition. It's part of Milton Keynes Tech Week. It's 21st of September onwards. We've got universities from all over the world coming to compete in our competitions. They'll be using normal robots. They'll be doing robots with manipulation, wheeled robots. There's all sorts of our social care, all sorts of things. But during that period, I hope to have all the 7 vehicles that we've got now in the UK in the city of Milton Keynes, taking people from train station to hotel or wherever. So please, if you can spare the time, come and visit us in MCAD. Thank you.
Very good. You doing nothing? That's it. No, I think we'll see with the size, but